BROFIST, the very short film. It was fun. It was really fun making it, and I'm really pleased at how it turned out. Now, Vinod and I had wanted to create together for a while now, and this situation that the world is finding itself in now sort of lent itself to us doing that in a strange, random sort of way. He was essentially stranded in Gunma for a month.
Vinod's been in Gunma for some time now, but he's never actually been up the mountains because he doesn't have a car. You can't be in Gunma without having gone up the mountains. That's not fucking right.
You can't be in Gunma without a car.
Yeah, you can't actually be in Gunma without a car.
And so we went up Mount Akagi, and we had no plan. It's just, you know, bring your kit, let's go, and whatever happens, happens. And while we were there, this guy rocks up with his bro in Z33. And so whenever someone who has a sports car rocks up around me, the first thing I do is go up to them and say, look, I have this project called Driver's Portraits, check it out. If it's alright with you, I'd like to shoot your portrait. And so that's what I did. I shot his driver portrait, and then eventually the conversation went around to, you know, what do you do? So I told them, well, this is what we do. We create videos. Hold on, why don't we shoot something right now?
So BROFIST, the very short film, was shot on the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K. It's the same camera I'm shooting this on, with the Panasonic 12-35 f2.8 version 1. On the day of the shoot, we had to move fast, so primes weren't really a lucrative option in that capacity. I knew that the 12-35 range covered all the focal lengths that I thought we would need. For the lenses, I also used a stack of filters. I used a ND8, which is a 0.6. I used a circular polarizer. I used an IR UV cut, and I used a Pro Mist 1/4, and the Pro Mist was to counter the really sharp nature of the lens, plus the speculars that come up with the highlights on that day. The ND, because the camera doesn't have an internal ND, polarizer for the skies, IR cut because Blackmagic cameras have a infrared pollution in the sensor.
We lined up the two cars, and we got the scene with Daiki walking towards my S14 and sitting down, and both of them looking at the camera. And that's sort of how it started. And then from there, it was just like, well, we've got time, you got time. And organically, we just sort of went with that. Me directing, Vinod shooting, because just sort of the way we work together, he's able to take my ramblings, my incoherent way of explaining the vision I have, understanding that incoherence, and then creating the shot that I had envisioned in my head better than I could have created the shot myself. There was no plan. After that one shot, it was just like, well, why don't we do the same sort of action from a different angle? I sort of had this idea, if I want to be here, and I told Vinod, do you think it will work? And he'd be like, yeah, I think we can make it work. And he just made it work.
Because there was a stack of those filters, I couldn't use the entire range of the focal length of the lens. Could only use it from, I think, 18 millimeters or 15 millimeters to 35 millimeters. I lose a little bit at the wide end, but at the wide end is where each millimeter counts dramatically. The only time I felt it were the interior shots in the car, when it was somewhat troublesome to get all of the angles that I wanted while also having things in focus. So you can definitely see that it's a lot tighter than I would have shot it, but I think it worked out well. considering the nature of the film itself.
It blew me away. What he shot, what he did, is exactly what I had envisioned each shot would be. We reframed the walk-in. I thought, well, let's take this one step further. We have these two guys and their two cars sort of walking past each other. Well, what is it that bros do, right? Well, we do a fist bump, we do a bro fist. And so then that happened. And when I saw that, I was like, well, this is gonna be the focal point. This is gonna be the linchpin, the hook, the whatever the fuck you wanna call it. Then it was just a matter of shooting all the other shots around that. So, well, they've done the bro fist, what's next? Well, then they get in their cars. Cool, they get in their cars, what's next? Well, then obviously they gotta drive away.
We were shooting a mix of handheld and on the Manfrotto 500 video head. I used this iFootage monopod to rest the shots, to rest the camera when setting up shots.
Because we didn't have that much time, we didn't want to keep these two random guys we met on the side of the mountain with us all day. We did sort of rush through that. I sort of rushed through it. I know we didn't get as many shots as I know Vinod would have liked, let alone as many shots I would have liked. It was more along the lines of, well, this is what we're gonna do, this is what we have, this is the time we got, let's just fucking guerrilla the fuck out of it and just do what we can.
The whole point of shooting with this setup was that I didn't have to mess around with settings as much as I would have had to with my GH5 or any other camera system in this price range. I knew that I wanted to set up the shots and not have to set up the camera, and considering all that we shot, all the coverage that we had, it was a really simple shoot.
We had no plan, we had no story. We had a camera, we had the two of us, and we had these two guys who we just met right there and then, and the props at our disposal, which were the cars. That's it. That's all we had. That's how you fucking make a short film on the fly with no plan. Right there. Well done, Vinod. I could not have done this without you.
Shooting in 8:1 DCI 4K Blackmagic BRAW really helps with preserving details and the shadows and the highlights and the speculars, and it's just a fantastic codec.
Now, as for the edit itself, since I knew that fist was gonna be the hook, I started with that, and then I just put a few shots together so that the movement and the actions didn't skip ahead or didn't feel disjointed. It sort of felt like one linear motion. And it worked, it looked good, but it didn't have the feeling, any feeling. It was just a selection of shots. And what really brought it all together for me was the song by Avius and Kyoot. But just the way the song, you know, it sort of has that ambience about it, and then it comes in like this. That, I think the best way to describe it is the way Cody commented on the video itself, and he said, I really felt it in the bro. It's weird because yes, there is no story and there's no real narrative, there's no, you know, plot. But anyone who's ever driven, anyone who's lived this car life doesn't need a narrative. You can add your own narrative. You don't need to know where they drove to. You don't need to know who they are. You don't need to know where they came from or where they're going. That moment, the fact that we were able to achieve that out of essentially random, unplanned, unscripted nothingness. I'm really pleased with the way it turned out. So yeah, I had a great fucking time, and yeah, I really hope we get to do more of these freestyle short films.
Probably for the next one, I'd want to mess around with some practical lighting or some injecting a little bit more lighting. But in this case, I think it works out really well. Hopefully, the next one's going to be a bit larger in scale.
Subscribe. Follow me on Instagram, follow Vinod on Instagram. All the links are in the places below. If you like the footage from the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema and you've got some money to spend, the links to buy one in the description below. And this is what happens in Gumma when we have nothing better to do with our time. Fucking hey. Yeah.